And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Bryan Broaddus, I tell you what, man. I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the break today. I went back to the break that show that we did today. I'm on the break now. I didn't know that I got a big voice guy, Voch Lombardi, today. I didn't know.
Oh, so they got the new big voice guys and Voch Lombardi.
So
I didn't notice it either.
People in the comments was just like, "Oh snap, Voch got big voice guy," and I don't even have the headphones on because I'm so cool. They say I'm so cool. I don't even wear the headphones. Comments. But hold on, wait, and give me shut up, Voch. Let me see if let's just click here together and have an understanding. Dad said this. That's me running my mouth loudly here. Hold on, bro.
Yeah,
I got big
and
voice.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Are you ready?
So much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break
with Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, May 21st, 2000.
Good for you, man. Congratulations.
Big
Congratulations.
voice Voch Lombardi, Bryan Broaddus. What's your reaction to big? How about let's start the show right there. What's your reaction to big voice Voch Lombardi, Bryan? What's your reaction?
The funny thing is how you immediately have to apologize to Ambar for talking too much.
Yeah. People didn't see that. But in between the break.
Yeah, in between the breaks, yeah.
Bryan, okay, so first of all, I am a YouTuber. And I can do 3 hours worth of a show by myself.
You do talk.
Second of all, I do doing all right with Bryan Broaddus. So I'm having to fight for talk space sometimes. Like me and you fight for talk space. And what'll happen is, it happened on the show. We went into doing all right mode, and it was me. It was me and you talking. Yeah. and look, I'll see them trying to get in there, and I'll be like, and another thing about pick, and I gotta remember how to be a teammate for 4 people.
Yeah.
I'm normally not a teammate at all. I'm still learning how to be a teammate for 1, for me and you. But I got to be a teammate for 4 people now. So I got to let Ambar take my point. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say that. Please.
You know what was funny? I've been working. I'd worked with Dallas. I started, I was scouting and then got on with DallasCowboys.com right around 2011. So over the years, I've been on various shows. Been with, with Mickey, and then with David Helm. I've been with others, and then I got on with Derek.
Yes, sir.
So I started working with Derek. And all the years of work with Derek, I've never seen him put his finger up to try and make a point.
Derek, look, I saw him and I caught myself and I went, all right, Derek, go ahead and talk. Look, even at the beginning of the show, I'm like, hey, Derek, you ain't talking about George Pickens, Derek. Why don't you go ahead and talk about George Pickens? That's fair.
He plans his show out on that pad.
Yeah.
And you just take it and you just snatch the show from him. And then you're like, Derek, we hadn't seen you in 2 weeks. Why don't you tell us about George Pickens?
Bryan.
And I just looked at him like this. I go, this is you signed up for this guy. You signed up for this guy. But I've never, in all the years of working with Derek, I've never seen him put his finger up to wait, Bryan, don't say anything. Don't say anything. He was looking right at me and put his finger up, and you're over there like, I don't work here, and I don't, I don't do this, and I don't do, I don't have a credential. I just show up, I park, and I come in there, I talk, and I got a camera and a microphone, and
I don't damn do this.
And Derek's looking at me, and he's like, he's got his finger up like, okay, I'm about to make a point.
Man,
if this guy ever shuts the hell up.
Hey, what you want me to say?
I thought it was great. See, it's so funny. Like, you and I have this relationship where we kid each other, and stuff happen. It happens like mid show. It just happens. And Derek and Ambar they're like, what's going on here?
Why they fighting?
They're like,
why they fighting in the middle of the show?
Why is Voch calling Bryan out, and Bryan then saying, well, Voch always is going to talk all, why, wait a minute, what are they doing here? And like, the show's going on, and you and I are having discussions within the show, and Ambar even made pulling the curtain back.
Yeah.
Amber even made the comment today, and Voch was trying to be a gentleman about it. And he's like, Amber, I'm sorry. I'll do a better job. Da 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 da. And Amber goes, oh, don't worry. I'll get to learn you. He'll be fine.
All right. All right. You say so.
All right, ma'am.
Yo, little Brian, she gonna get sick of me real fast. Ain't no learning. We work on the fly. She'll get sick of me. I see it.
She was like, well, I'll get to learn. I'll get to know you. I'll get to you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, Amber. I don't know about that.
I'm loud. I'm screaming in the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm waving my hands. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look, in that second segment, Amber talked for a long time, and I shut up and let her rock.
Did.
And then I cut her off in the middle of. And then I cut her off because. Look, Brian, before you even got there, Derek had a whole other segment he was gonna do.
Yeah,
we didn't even get to that. He was gonna talk about the Olympics, flag football, and stuff. And we didn't get.
Did you in the pre-show meeting say we ain't talking about Olympic flag football?
I didn't say that.
Did you hint that?
Did
you hint it?
I didn't even hint that. A part of me was gonna be good teammate guy, and I was gonna try to find some good funny content about flag football in the Olympics. It just didn't work out that way, Brian.
Didn't work out that way.
It's all right. It's all right, man. It's all right, Brian. But we here on the Doing All Right tonight. Brian. Also, too, please go ahead.
No, it's just.
You being
I've never Derek. To be honest with you, Voch.
Yeah.
Derek had never done it, and he didn't know how to do it. Sometimes, like when we're on radio, 105.3 The Fan, you just hold your hand up.
Mm-hmm.
You just immediately hold your hand up, and everybody kind of acknowledges that. Derek had never done it, so he wasn't sure. Do you show it like this, or do you show it? You kind of just hide it behind the microphone. He wasn't even sure how to like get my attention. I saw him do it. I'm like, okay, he's trying to get my attention here.
Well, see, Brian, you have a certain face you make when you have a point to make. So me and you working together, like you have a, you know what I'm saying? So I'll see that and I'll go, all right, go, Brian. And then you'll go.
Right.
This show is different because Derek is in my wide peripheral now.
And you have to look straight ahead because of the way the cameras are.
I would love to look y'all in the eye, but they tell us
they make us look straight ahead.
They tell us to look in the camera. I would love to look over Derek to make sure he's straight. But
I used to do that. Yeah. I used to be able to like you like turn your head and like there's no way you're saying that. No way you're serious about that. Yeah. Now you have to look straight ahead. And what's hard is when you're making a point and you're I'm trying to talk to you and you being on my left.
Yeah.
I'm looking straight at the camera, but I could see you from my side looking at me like, bro, why are you not looking at me by saying this? But we're taught, look at that camera. So
we'll get used to it, man. I'm gonna break Derek out of that shell, man. He's gonna laugh with us a lot more. Not that he's super serious with us, but he tries to stay in his super serious bag because that's who he is. But good luck trying to wrangle me and you together like that. But is what.
No kidding.
Brian, shouts out to you last night. If you read the comments on yesterday's video with me, you, and Two-Eye, people were so excited that you called out your own Don DeMarco, Bryan Broaddus. People are so proud of you and the strides you've made with this young urban character that you do work with. That you're calling out your own Don DeMarcos, and the comments was falling out laughing on the floor.
Yeah, I actually got up at 5 a.m. and I read the comments and. Thanks to everybody that made comments and all. I really appreciate it. And thanks to Aisha Morrison for coming on with us. There's going to be a lot more of Aisha Morrison and Voch Lombardi and Bryan Broaddus doing stuff. Sure. So if you like that, get ready. There's going to be some more of that down the pike. So really excited about that. But yeah, I just, I made that point about McCarthy and I felt like that was I felt like that was a moment that was kind of a defining moment for me. I needed the Don DeMarco kind of. I needed that acknowledgement for.
Get your wins, man. Get your wins. Get all of them.
I gotta try. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Hell yeah.
We're kind of talking about these, various positions and stuff like that, though.
Yes, sir.
These linebackers, they doing anything for you? I will say this. Didn't have a chance to go to practice. I know you're going to be our eyes coming up here the next one. I'm excited about you getting to to put your eyes on this and hearing your thoughts as you see. I was happy to hear that Shamar James had the interception. Remember, we were kind of talking about rookie Shamar James coming out of Florida.
Yes, sir.
And we were worried about his instincts.
Yes, sir.
And I know personally, I was thinking, will linebacker, let him rush, let him run,
Sure.
keep him uncovered.
Yeah.
But man, the guys and gals I talked to that were watching practice say that Mr. James, good position, able to pick Joe Milton off.
Yeah.
You know, couple of linebacker interceptions. You know, Buddy Johnson and Shamir James. So good for James. Good start for him.
Yeah.
In that first practice that we could see. Now maybe the other practices he's effing things up.
Sure.
But good, the ones that the media was able to see, good for him. And if he could show that, hey, wait a minute, I can play a little coverage if I have to. We'll see. But I was encouraged by that. I really, really was.
Well, you know, Brian, every year the Cowboys find a way to get some player that we may not be as high on.
Yeah.
But they have a super detailed breakdown of what they're going to do with him. Like, they have this plan of what they're going to do with him. And they're very, like, for example, Overshawn coming out of Texas.
Yeah.
I thought he was a cool linebacker. He was a cool linebacker in Texas. I thought he was really good. He's a whole different dude here than the dude he is in Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oso Digizua at UCLA, that dude wasn't going to be this guy that he is now. I didn't see that on his film, Brian. The Cowboys do kind of have that knack. Maybe it's a, Will McClay thing, finding traits that, can turn into X, Y, Z or whatever, and then him relaying that to the coaches. Like, hey, man, he may not be this right now, but don't, and And sometimes they miss with that, but sometimes they really hit, Bryan Broaddus. Of course, we have to see what happens at Oxnard, because that's what Jerry Jones calls it, not Oxnard, but Oxnard.
Oxnard.
We have to see what happens with Oxnard, but he got the tools to do it. Just watching him in college, he was a player that seemed athletic enough to do it. He seemed like a player that was very downhill, like there was some pass rush to be unlocked. They just didn't always use it. 2 sacks versus LSU. I'm sure you watched that game. And when it was time for him to think and process a lot, he would be guessing a bunch, or he'll get kind of lost in the sauce or whatever. He'll kind of get washed in some of these, some of these run lanes, or like these big offensive linemen get hands on him and he'll go flying or whatnot, right? So your previous assessment of put him at will, keep him clean, and don't give him a whole bunch of jobs, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. But something that I've always said is you have to think about your draft prospects in context of coaches that are here. So if you drafted a corner and you got Al Harris, you can imagine that corner is going to be a little bit better than what you thought. Or if you draft offensive lineman and Duke Manningware is across the street, and just by way of that Cowboy-Duke relationship, you would imagine that your O-lineman will get a little bit better. If Eberflus is a linebacker whisperer, and this is a guy that the Cowboys traded up for, Brian, so apparently they love the kid, then it'll make sense if you take the natural traits that he has and take Eberflus's whispering, and you would assume he'll be a better player than we thought he was in college.
Yeah, I kind of maybe thought that way a little bit about Maris Leofau. But now previous regime really, really loved Maris Leofau. That's how he got on this team.
Sure.
It was the Mike Zimmer and his guys were the ones that really pushed hard for Maris Leofau. But I'm excited about that. Voch, let me ask you this one. Does Kenneth Murray have a chance to be just as productive as Eric Kendricks was last year?
Brian, I'm looking at this depth chart on our lads. And our lads pretty much get it right for the most part. They don't like, it's not a second by second update. Like we'll get
they
the
do
information
update, they get the waiver wires. They do get the waiver wires. So that the players on the teams, and then trying to line them all up. Yeah, they're actually more right than they are wrong, which to credit to them.
Our lads has Kenneth Murray as the first middle linebacker over Sanborn.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, Brian, and I could be wrong. In my mind, I look at Sanborn like the Kendricks because Kendricks was the Zimmer guy. Hey, this is the defense and this is how it goes. So Sanborn
I see what you're doing. He's got an advantage, much like Kendricks had. Okay.
So Sanborn being Bears guy, hey, y'all, this is what this defense is. Kenneth Murray is a better athlete than Sanborn.
Right.
I would even say Kenneth Murray got a better pedigree, like draft-wise, right? Like coming out of Oklahoma and all that. Like we thought that Kenneth Murray was going to be a guy just watching his film. If Kenneth, I don't know. I don't see it, Brian. In my mind, I thought Kenneth Murray would be more of a Sam or a Will type character. Because if he's a Sam, he gets the pass rush, and if he's a Will character, he doesn't get to think that much. Now Sanborn, Murray, if Murray has a deficiency, he does the James thing, right? Like he's guessing. Or he'll get a little lost sometimes, but as a downhill player, sometimes pass rush, I think he's damn good. So if he's the Mike, I think that's a whole nother conversation that we got to figure out in Oxnard. But I always thought that Sanborn was going to be the guy. But our lads, they get decent information, especially this time of year when you adding players and things like that. So I'm not sure, Brian. I'm not sure. And look, I don't even know how long his leash is. Like he was a player that was traded for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different than free agent that I'm paying vet minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like they traded a pick for him. So there's equity in Kenneth Murray, technically. I guess he's in the fight. I guess he's in the fight for Mike linebacker. The problem is I don't think Sanborn is a will linebacker at all. I think he's a pure Mike. I think Murray can be all the things. I think Sanborn is the Mike. So I guess that's another thing we're going to have to see, Brian.
Yeah, I kind of envisioned not Sanborn as a Will, but like you said, as a Mike when I watched him.
Sure.
Maybe more Sam linebacker.
Sure.
The thing I've always known about Murray, I've always felt Murray was a Mike linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen him in another role. Maybe, maybe I got confused watching Chargers tape one year. Watched him a little bit against, when he was with Tennessee and how he played. But I've always had the vision of kind of a thumper.
Yeah.
That middle linebacker guy that occasionally came on blitz. This was a problem because he was a bigger guy. He was able to kind of run through blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the quarterback, but I kind of always thought about a guy that if the ball was coming downhill at him, he was going to make those types of plays.
I agree.
Maybe more of a physical linebacker than what Sanborn.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I need to go back and look at my notes about really what did I think about, with Sanborn. What was that all about?
I will say your notes about Murray aren't wrong neither. He's just so sometimes guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's sometimes he looks perfect for it. Other times he looks totally out of place, which is probably why he's like a first round journeyman type dude right now. He just doesn't. It's just not consistent enough. I do think Sanborn knowing the defense is going to give him some kind of advantage. Yeah. But honestly, Brian, we're just crossing our fingers to Overshawn come back. But please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I kind of see. I remember with Sanborn was a guy that kind of ran under blocks, but usually when you run under blocks, you get in big time trouble.
Sure.
But I remember him running under some blocks. And then making plays.
Because he sees it. So he's in the right place. You know what I mean? Kenneth Murray can blow a block up.
Yeah.
But he might guess wrong, or he might just not see it as well. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yin and yang there.
I'm going to, if has the ship sailed on Damone Clark?
Oh, man, bro. Hell yeah, man. Let me see where he at on this thing. He's toward the back end. Man,
He's at the back end.
they might as well take that number and give it to a wide receiver or something, man. Clark is gonna have to get cool with the team's coach. What's his name? Sorensen.
Yeah, Nick Sorensen.
Go get cool with the team's coach, man. I think this is what I've learned about not even learned, but this is what I'll say about the Cowboys. The Cowboys will tell you what they think of you by the players that they bring in around you.
And they keep piling up guys.
They're
ahead of him.
constantly stacking linebackers. He's surviving. He's lived longer than our kid from Oklahoma State that was here, or some of the other linebackers guys that was he's here. But Brian, the Cowboys are constantly looking for ways to replace him, Brian. And they just throwing bodies at a position. Not even just drafting guys, because they are doing that, but they're trading guys, they're signing guys, they're throwing bodies. I think it's just a matter of time. I think Damone Clark should probably try to go to Washington with Dan Quinn and them, where at least Dan got some kind of, some sort of, I play with small linebackers here. I think the Cowboys want to get bigger. I think Overshown's different, and he's gotten bigger according to the the reports there. But Damone, he just like with Sam Williams, but kind of different because Damone hasn't shown as much as Sam, and Sam ain't shown nothing. But you just don't have guys that drafted you. These guys didn't bring you here. They didn't. You're not their babies. You're not their son. So Clark would have to go out and have a ridiculous camp, but he's never had a ridiculous camp since being on the team, bro.
It just seems like that every time that he maybe takes a step forward, then there's something that happens. It's 2 steps back, where he doesn't read it quick enough, doesn't see it fast enough. Maybe gets a step behind because he lacks that. And we were talking about the same thing with James. Yeah, lack of instincts, lack of being able to read. There are times the ball goes right by him, and you're like, man, he didn't even see that. He didn't see the blocking scheme. Oh, wait a minute. He stepped up, and now the ball's going to the outside. So, that's tough. I think he's in a really, really bad spot. I think he's into that mode of guys that were drafted in a previous regime. The Matt Willets goes, and there's a pocket of those guys that are probably players, if they were under 53 for a while, like, well, let's go player 50 and Clark 51, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think these guys are kind of in danger. And I think he's going to have to be with that Nick Sorensen guy. Yeah. Remember they picked up Darius Harris too.
Sure. Yeah.
In Kansas City, who's kind of a special teams guy. So, if Darius Harris shows that he could play much better special teams than our guy than McClark, then there's going to be, but I think he kind of falls into that role of, okay, your sponsors are no longer here. Mm-hmm. People that were fighting for you years ago are no longer here. And now you have to prove your worth to be here, but you're now battling against Shamar James, who they drafted, who this coaching staff drafted. So now you're behind that.
Plus, it doesn't help that Overshown and Louisville picked it up so fast.
Yeah.
Like, they picked it up fast, and we waiting on Damone Clark to pick it up in year 5 for him, year 4 for him. Yeah. It's probably going to finally happen this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah.
Buddy Johnson, Brian, he out there making plays.
Yeah, but it was people were talking about this just on people that were asking. And the names that I heard yesterday were not names I would have thought, especially like offensively.
Yeah.
People were telling me, well, there was some positivity about Jonathan Mingo. I know you and I've talked about Jonathan Mingo.
Yes, sir.
Positivity about Paris Campbell, wide receiver, and what he was able to do in the practice. Positivity about Jalen Cropper. And Cropper's a guy that every year it's like gets to training camp. He has a couple of good practices. He plays a good special team or a good preseason game. And then he's on the practice squad. But there were names, Mingo, Cropper, Campbell on the offensive side of the ball. Then you turned around on the defensive side of the ball, and there were guys like Buddy Johnson were getting mentioned. So, is this one of those?
I got to see Camp, man. I got to see Oxnard, man.
I know. I'm totally with you on that. I'm totally with you.
Because the first thing I think of is Joe Milton threw a pick. Is it because you was in great position, or is it because Joe Milton just threw that thing anywhere?
Buddy Johnson caught a tip ball.
Okay.
And then evidently James caught one where his was more about positioning and stuff like that.
I got to see with my own eyes, man. Shouts out to our colleagues, Brian, but my eyes,
Oh, I can't wait. Unfortunately, because of my duties with 105.3 The Fan, the one thing Mike McCarthy would do a favor for all of us is he would start practice so early that you could actually go and watch practice and then go do an afternoon radio show.
Yeah,
I think Shoddy's under the Jason Garrett the Jason Garrett program where he practices later in the day. I wonder if he's going to practice. Remember Garrett and Oxnard. Garrett would practice like at 3 o'clock Oxnard time.
Yeah.
And then that thing would carry into Dallas, 6, 7 o'clock, guys and gals trying to kind of do shows and stuff like that. And
does Gavin not think it's a good idea? And you both Gavins, honestly, does he not think it's a good idea to send Broaddus to practice so that Broaddus can then come to the radio? And it may be an hour later. You got 5 hours of radio.
They've done that. They've done that. And there was a time where the first hour of the show, I was watching practice.
Yeah.
And then for the second hour, then I came back after that. But yeah, matter of fact, I've already been told I'm going out a week early with the midday show. So I'm going to go the first week of camp. We're doing split camp.
Mm-hmm.
So the midday show is going the first week of camp. And then the second week of camp, the morning show and our show is going. So I'll be there those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if Derek Eagleton, last year, he kept me on board for DallasCowboys.com. Still might do that again. So, but the schedule is kind of weird because of the way the preseason works. They got a game against the Rams first, and then the next 2 games are at home.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have, it's not like they play the Rams and then say the Raiders and then go home. They play a preseason game against the Rams, maybe have a few more practices and then head on home. Yeah. So if that's the case, it's good for all of us because then we could go watch practices at the Star. That that will work. But yeah, it's man, you know what's funny, Voch?
Yes, sir.
We just got done with this draft, and we're going to get done with these mini camps and OTAs, and it's going to be 4 weeks, and then we're going to be going to training camp, and this is going to start all over again.
It's going to happen fast. Yeah.
It happens really fast. Yeah.
I'm be tired. I'll be tired as hell. Try to balance my YouTube.
Yep.
In which I hope it'll be 100,000 sub YouTube channel by then, and balancing the doing all right. Balancing the break and all that. It's
a lot of work, man, but it's all cool. I mean, this is a lot. I'm excited about the season in the way because of the addition of George Pickens.
Sure.
And then we'll see what happens with the new coaching staff and all that. And can they live up to these linebackers we talked about?
Yeah.
Can they find a way for these linebackers to make plays? It's going to be this defensive line. Heck, it might not be great right now at one technique until we kind of figure all those things out.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to make some plays, this linebacker crew.
Our beloved Stars are down 3-1 to the EDM. Who that is? EDM.
That would be the Edmonton Oilers.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Man,
Edmonton.
Hockey so garbage.
Yeah, you're a hockey guy. Yeah, matter of fact, the phone buzzes when there's goals.
Yeah.
And I looked down and it was 2-1 Edmonton, and then it went 3-1, and I went, okay, I don't even need to pay attention to this anymore. I mean, I got to go watch, but I'll figure it all out.
They get on that. So is it 4 quarters or is it just 2?
3 20-minute periods. 3 20-minute periods.
And they just give you a long ass break in between the quarters or the periods.
They got to redo the ice, so that's why you come and do podcasts and stuff like that, And then you watch, and then while you're doing the podcast, they decide to give up 2 goals to make this harder. Edmonton's a good team, man. This is gonna be tough. This one will be tough.
I guess, Bryan Broaddus, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take care of that hockey. And I'm going to not fall asleep. I'm going to try to follow, you know what I'm saying? The last game was exciting, but it just happened to be on the TV. But I'm a Dallas media guy now, so I got to support the Stars. All right?
There you go, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Y'all go and watch your hockey and all that and go tap in with the break. Voch's going to be on it. I'm just reminding y'all now, but after a while, just assume that I'm going to be on the break because it's going to be every day, Monday through Friday. Damn.
Yeah, once the season starts, it turns into an everyday gig. So yeah, Monday through Friday, get to break them all down. Be fun.
I hope they got a little money for me over there in the treasury. You know what I'm saying? We got something for y'all Friday, so y'all be sure y'all tap in and stay alert. VOCHLOMBARDI. That's where you can find me. Y'all know where to find Broaddus, BRYN Broaddus. He ain't gonna respond back, but he might say something to you Friday. So just be around. Y'all hold down until next time. Love y'all 2 pieces. Crown.